order to go live.
Yep.
You got okay, so we are live now, basically. Even though it ain't totally loaded, I know we're live. There it is, it loaded up. Okay, so...
You can tell how much you've done this already. You know.
Yeah, I pretty much know when we're live, you know, and a lot of times I'm actually live before it's loaded even. So it's pretty quick. So anyhow, I'm up here with Harry today, and I want to talk a little bit about last Saturday's TFL show, okay? That's why I've given the live stream the name it is, about TFL Saturday Night Live. And it's going to be an update for you about last Saturday night. But before I do get into this heavy, I do want to say these things. Thanks to what happened, I'm not going to totally put everything on Ron Fan, okay? Because I understand that Ron Fan was actually in my contacts list on Zoom already. And the only info he could have really been given out at that point was, you know, my email address. And there ain't nobody that can come into my live stream with just an email address. Okay, they actually have to have the ID number to the chat, or they have to have the ULR, to the meeting, or they have to have the ULR to the meeting. Ron Fan was already in my list. Now, yes, I did bring Annika on and allowed her on, and that was something that wasn't even planned. That happened 40 minutes before the show, as Ron PM'd me and told me that he was going to bring her on the show, and yes, I allowed it to happen. You're going to say, and for all you non-sayers who say, I'm a simp, I'm a vagina, I'm pussy whipped, you know, that I don't stand up to women, you're so far off base on this, you don't even know how this played out. I allowed her to come on the show basically for one reason. To observe, watch, and, well, Steve, oh God, I give credit to Steve, real good credit. We got trolled hard, and that took my attention off of, it took my focus away from what I'm doing, because I do everything off the cuff. So that broke my focus. My focus at that point was to get rid of the troll, because otherwise I would have had to shut the meeting down in the middle of the show, change my settings, come back up with a new meeting, and we would have lost some of our guests immediately upon doing that. So I kept removing the troll. So with that being said, from here forward, people like Jeff from Texas, or not Jeff, a little Steve. Steve from Texas, and the other guy over there in Canada, and of course, the Toronto man already has me in his contact. So the other man over there in Canada that was calling in was really good, was really accurate. He was sincere and real. I only want real people. So you're going to have to use my email address, and you're going to have to send me a friend invite, and you're going to have to take 2 minutes out of your busy schedule to put Zoom on your smartphone or put Zoom on your computer. It's up to you which way you want to do it, okay? Or you can do both. I don't care. It's free. You can get a free account. You can send me a friend's request. I will accept it, okay? This way you can come into the show. And if we get somebody trolling us, I can remove and block them. So we don't got to go through what I went through this last Saturday. Now, I got Harry with me for a really good reason. And I highly appreciate Mr. Hoka, okay? And I'm glad that you're listening, Steve. I really appreciate what Steve has done, because my focus was broke to keep the show going without losing, having to end the meeting to correct the trolling. So we had one night of trolling, and that took my focus off. But I allowed Anikon for a reason. And this is what most people don't understand. There was a really good reason behind it. Okay? She said some things and done some things that really, in the light, I want to show people so they can see who they're dealing with. I said all along that Monday was an employee of the establishment. And Steve even sees this, okay, that Monday was an employee of the establishment. This guy has skills that are not commonly known. People just don't understand this. I see through this stuff. And it was actually awesome that Mr. Hoka hit her with the hard questions. I would have actually hit her with the same questions if Steve wasn't there. But I didn't have to. Steve did a good job of hitting her, pissed her off. She left. Then she came back. Okay? But it's when Steve asked her and caught her off guard where she met Monday at that the truth is revealed. Okay? So, and I see Peter Nolan's in here. Hello, Global Man. So that's awesome. But anyhow, so what's going on here is on Monday's show, Annika O'Brien was in here. And Monday was running from us, as people know. He never came in. I saw him sit down and end the meeting, though. Yep, he sat down in the chair in front of the cam live, and I saw him sit in that chair and end the meeting. Okay? So here we go. Harry, why don't you tell them what we discovered along our little journey?
Well, we looked into the background of Mensa, which is the organization where Monday and Annika met, and we connected the dots between their connection in the political scene. We watched some of Annika's videos, and in the videos, she was talking about how she'd stepped back from the internet political scene to involve herself more in the real life political scene. And we made a connection that people from Mensa actually have an opportunity to, meet with and connect with politicians.
Yes. And well, you're talking the top 2% IQ, the highest IQ in the world. Okay, it's in over 100 countries. Why don't you go ahead and tell them when it was started, where Mensa come from?
Yeah, it started in 1946 in England, and that was roughly around the time that the United Nations was founded. It was also founded in 1946, so right after World War II. You'll find a lot of these globalization organizations really took off. They were probably around before that. That's where they became public with them.
Yes. And so, see, what we have is we have two people that met at Mensa that are members of Mensa. Now, we not only have that when it was started and that it's in over 100 countries, Mensa is really about the globalists because the people running us are owners, you would say the elite, whoever you want to call them. They use this for their think tanks. This is where they get their people who help them to do unto us what's going on. NWO. This is where they're getting their think tanks from. It's places like Mensa. Then I want to have a shout out to Hell by the Dashboard Light while I'm at it. Okay. It appears that Hell by the Dashboard Light did a last live stream that he had done. It appears his channel's still up or has been put back up. Okay. But I want to give a shout out to him because I hear that he said some good stuff and I really appreciate the comment towards me. He already knows I feel the same way about him. Hell by the Dashboard Light is actually a really intelligent man. I don't care what people say, I see it in him. Okay? He has the skill and but it is hard living, TFL. It's hard living in a corrupt world where your life gets destroyed. It's so hard. It hurts a lot of people, a lot of men deep, messes us up. We get angry, we get bitter. How are you not going to get angry and bitter about being abused? Okay, but this is what we do, right? Women love women, men love women. Women hate men and men hate men. Isn't that right? Isn't that how it works? Yeah.
That's right.
So anyhow, let's go back to what we deserved. So here's what Annika managed to do. She's got speaking out two sides of her mouth. I caught it today and I put it together, but I haven't put it up because they'll probably strike me. Okay? When I told them back in the day, men and women used to take the time to get to know each other. This is what dating is all about. And back in the day, some couples, of course, not everybody, nothing's 100% across the board. People would date anything from a year to 2 years to 5 years, and this was a common, normal thing. People would date because they became friends. A woman and man became best friends. And when they had that connection and they fall in love with each other, because real love does exist, they would be together, okay? Well, Annika firmly disagreed with that. She believes that you only have to have a handful of dates. See, on our show, she didn't say a handful of dates. She took us back to the 1800s and said our lifespans were short. We didn't have time for that kind of dating because half your life would be over. So we had to hook up right away. This is what Annika promoted, okay? Then she turned around. We don't got time for that. Then when it came to the hookup scene, she didn't want that. So what did that leave us? If we're not supposed to date, okay, and we're not supposed to have a hookup culture, then we would have what the NW's always wanted: the genders completely separate. Okay, that's what we would have. This is the message Annika really spilt. Whether people realize it or not, if you really listen to her, that's the message she gave. But yet on her other live stream with somebody else, she she talks about when she met Monday a couple of years after she come up on YouTube, and she come up on YouTube in 2006, and she met him a couple of years after, and she didn't know he had a YouTube channel, and he has a YouTube channel, and blah blah blah, right? Well, since they're together, living together, and they're a couple, and then I want to thank How About the Dashboard Light again. I listened to something he said, and he was talking about Arm and Hammer. Do you remember that, Harry?
Yeah.
Okay, he was talking about Arm and Hammer and Monday. So now you want to think about this. Monday's either a journalist or he's a former actor or something. He's connected to Hollywood or he's a journalist in mainstream media. But regardless of which one he is, he's on assignment. He's here on YouTube on assignment. You can take that to the bank.
Yeah,
Okay? Go ahead,
I'm not
Harry.
too sure about the Arm and Hammer connection, but definitely like he is a journalist. That's what Mensa's involved in, journalism and intelligence.
Yes.
A lot of these things.
Well, but the history that Hell by the Dashboard Light brought up, it would make sense for him to be involved in the things that Harry just said. It's clear, it's in your face. But see, we couldn't have gotten to know that they met each other at Mensa if we didn't allow her to be on the show. So if people understand that, then you would understand we actually had to allow her to be on the show. Okay, I had to let it fly one time. If you were going to try to get any insight or find out if they were real, or if I was right about what I suspected, or if I was wrong about what I suspected, we had to give her a chance. She came in here thinking she was manipulating us because she's part of Mensa. She has this high IQ. Okay. My issue is, of course, I know that somebody passed out my ID number that I was using for the meeting. And Ron is in my contacts list, so Ron merely may have gave an email, which would not allow you to troll the show, which means somebody that is called into my show, if I was to guess, I would have to say it was SPO. If I was to have to guess how the meeting ID got to a troll, I think you could thank SPO for that. Because
Hmm.
SPO wanted to be a devil's advocate. SPO wants to go along with the globalists' agenda. Estill believes that our relationship should be usury, short time usury, which is keeping us all divided and breaking up the family unit, breaking up the genders, and destroy our society. There's only one place it can go is straight down. Okay? Because we're so divided. I mean, we are literally without war with ourselves. I mean, men are fighting women, women are fighting men. We're in the workplaces throwing each other underneath the bus to rise up. This stuff just keeps going on and on and on. Okay, so yeah. So what I'm telling you is simple. What we have is exactly what I suspected all along. We have employees of the establishment who are sending men down the rabbit hole. I mean, think about it. Annika's messages is still the man's fault. It's still the man's fault. Okay? Monday's messages is all the man's fault. What's been the globalist message all along? It's the man's fault. It's always the man's fault. Women are perfect. They're little angels. BS. We all know better than that. Okay, so there you are. See, this is why I wanted to do this. I think Harry probably has some things to say because I've been talking a lot, haven't I, Harry? You just tell me to shut up.
Yeah,
Just tell me to shut up.
yeah, you've been talking good sense, Bill. Yeah, maybe I'll talk about the whole power thing. The whole idea in today's society, it's very Machiavellian. It's like social Darwinism. So the one without the power is the one who the blame is put on. And you'll see this in the workplace as well. The higher up you are in an organization, a lot of the times, the less work you'll do, like the supervisors. They just sit around and supervise and basically make sure everybody else is doing their job. So they're doing less work, but they have more power in the workplace. But then the ones who don't have the power are actually the ones who get paid less and do the most work. But it's the same whole idea of the gender issue. It's basically men have less power in the dating scene, so they're blamed if anything goes wrong by the supervisor, basically a woman. And even if he's expected to put in most of the work into making the relationship work because he's got less power and less say so. I mean, that's how it works in this current society. It's very sick. It's like the less power you have, the more work you have to do, and of course, the responsibility will always fall upon you.
That is exactly correct. And it's just like this society, Mensa. You observe these people that are part of Mensa. You have people with high ego maniacs. You have people that are very arrogant. They actually place themselves on a level above other people. And Annika being part of Mensa and being a female, oh my God, she's really on the pedestal. Think about it. And when she wants to say she don't got time for dating and go back to the 1700s to me, or the 1800s to me on the show, okay? But let's look at her own self. She met Monday right around 2008 or 9. So Monday and her, she started seeing each other then. This is 2020. So would you say that she probably would have actually been dating Monday for what, 2, 3, 4 years before she actually became with him? Yeah, I would. But see, that's what I was telling people. So see, it's okay for her and not okay for you. So do as I say, don't do as I do. I think Carrie says that better than me. uh,
Yeah, yeah, that's it, Bill. I mean, there's some people in the chat thinking she's a dumb woman. She's not a dumb woman. She's very smart. She knows what she's doing. She's purposely manipulating you and putting you down the rabbit hole, just like Monday. They're part of the same coin, really.
yeah,
You know,
the,
she's met him for a long time, and she's basically telling you, oh, don't be spending too much time meeting people. Or don't take too long because you know, basically life's too short. It's all nonsense.
it is. It goes right along with the agenda. As much as people don't want to recognize it, David Icke even talked about this stuff. Okay, and he's telling you the truth. This is just it. Even though these guys are agent, they're paid to tell you the truth, but they also put in propaganda with it. So you got to be very selective and understand what's going on. And I see what's going on. I literally see what's going on in society when it comes to NWO, when it comes to what's actually taking place. This is why they took TFL and lumped it in with Incel, because Incel's the target. They're the target for the blame for angry men. Well, we put TFL into Incel so we can call them one and the same, so we can bring TFL down. They don't like people hovering over them with real truth. They don't want the responsibility for what's happened to the genders to come back on them, even though they're the ones that deliberately done it to us. They want their patsies. And you know who the patsies are? Incels and TFLs. That's who their patsies are. Just like Timothy McVeigh, okay? Just like the Kennedy shooting, Harvey Oswald. See, so here you go again. They've done this so many times throughout history. And this time they're placing TFL and Incel in one category, and we are the target for the patsies. They've got their agents in here on YouTube now, confusing people of their genders and keeping men blaming themselves for something that was socially engineered that they're responsible for, not us. So yeah, this is an off-the-cuff live stream because I wanted to do the update for Saturday night. I would really like to see Steve from Texas and the guy over there in Canada that was calling in and some of my others, but you're going to have to send me an invitation and get Zoom on your devices. If you want the show to continue, then you need to do this. You need to take 2 minutes out of your busy time. Okay? Because I'm not going to allow the trolling no more because when I can change the assigned ID number, but it would do me no good. Because people like SPO would come along and then they would have it and then they would pass it to somebody else and they would have it kick trolling us. So I don't think Ron Fan was directly responsible for the trolling. He was responsible for bringing Annika on, but he was not responsible for the trolling. I think the trolling happened because of Espio. That would be my opinion. Because, see, it has to be somebody that was given the ID number that was able to come into the show and see I threw him off the show. Or think about that. I literally threw him off the show. I didn't throw the other guy, Crimson, off the show. He left on his own. Okay? And didn't come back. So I'm not going to blame Ron Fan for the trolling. I done a lot of thinking about that, and that trolling wasn't from Ron Fan. But it is from having an ID number out there that can be passed out. So therefore, you got no choice now, guys. You're going to have to get Zoom. It's free. That's the only nice thing about it. You can get Zoom for free, and all you got to do is log into Zoom. And I got the show doing. Click on my name, get in the chat, say hi, can I get into the show? And I will bring you into the show. Now, if somebody comes in trolling, I can not only just remove them, I can block and delete them out of my contacts list, and they won't be trolling us again. So it's protection from trolls, so this don't happen again. So, unfortunately, how it is, one bad apple can make it hard on everybody else. Yeah, I'm sure there's a few of you out here that love to shut this show down, wouldn't you? What do you think, Harry? You think there's some good people would like us to shut up?
Yeah, I'd say mainly the government. they fucking removed your channels plenty of times in the past. Yeah, the biggest disinformation agents out there.
You know what I'd like to see happen? I'd like to see held by the dashboard light. send me an
Hmm.
email, okay, or send a friend invite on Zoom. And I would like to see me, Steve, and Hell by the Dashboard Light on a Saturday Night Live.
Hell yeah.
Because see, I like Hell by the Dashboard Light. I always have. Okay? It isn't that the guy wasn't intelligent. I can understand the anger. Okay? It's just you have to control the anger because you don't want to attack another victim of the same shit that we've been put through when they're being put through themselves. The idea is to try to bring us back together so that we're stronger, so that we can actually fight back against our enemy. Because as long as we're at war with ourselves, our enemy's going to stomp our ass all over the place. Okay, and that's literally what I'm telling you, and it's no lie. And I would like to have Hell by the Dashboard Light and Steve Holt as part of this. He's already here. I would like to have him as part of the Saturday night TFL thing. You get all three of us on there, you're going to have three powerhouses that really know what they're talking about. Okay? And I think that would actually help a lot because it could help bring the manosphere back together. And that's what has to happen. I would love to see the genders brought back together, but you got to do one thing at a time. And the first step is for men to stop hating on men in the manosphere and to stop throwing each other underneath the bus. What do you think? I think that sounds like a good idea, don't you? What do you think, Harry?
Yeah, definitely. I think a big advantage is women stick together a lot more than men do. And of course, that's why they can go without a guy for so long and treat them like trash because they got their female friends to fall back on. Whereas the men, they're always throwing each other under the bus, simping out, and they're programmed to hate themselves. Really, they've been brainwashed to hate themselves. The women have been brainwashed into killing their own children, like abortions, shit like that. But the men have really been brainwashed into hating other men and themselves. It's pathetic.
It's pathetic. And of course, then because we're all competing for the female, okay, she knows we're competing for her. And that just gives the female more of a freaking ego trip, more power over the top of you, okay? And we got to stop that. We got to grow up and realize that dating's not about competing against one another, okay? The women are just as corrupted as we are. It is the social engineering. I mean, reality spells it in your face. Ever since the day you were born into a world that's been telling you everything your whole life. By the time you got to be a adult, everything you knew was from these creeps, from these psychopaths. And it's turning all of us against each other. So we're in this war against each other. Why are we in this war against each other? While the real enemy's out there attacking other countries to steal more resources and bring in their damn one world government that we could actually make an effect on because our problem is root problems. You got to go back to the root of where TFL came from, where all this stuff came from. These problems have been given to us by the elite. They've done a really good job of dividing us all. And this is what I've always been fighting for. But I did have a laugh. Uh, Tell them the type of comments you saw, Harry, about me after last Saturday night.
On the dashboard stream,
Yeah, well, you saw the comments people put calling me all these names.
yeah, you had that guy Wild Bill 24, low IQ, area IQ.
Wow, I like that. You're gonna have to
But and
say that one more time, because right when you said "Wow, Bill," they cut you.
oh shit, my connection. You can hear me all right?
Yep.
Right, right. There's a bit of static there, but no, he's saying you're area IQ, low IQ idiot, Wild Bill, mentally ill.
Yep. I think that's what you call a zombie, a low IQ person calling somebody with more smarts than them dumb. I think that's the coffee pot calling the kettle black. And I also heard didn't some people also say that I was a simp that I don't stand up to women.
Yeah. No, them people just couldn't see the bigger picture. This was like the wife of an agent that we've been trying to expose, or we've exposed for the last 7 months. Your and my first video was exposing this guy, and they couldn't understand that we let her on to lull her into a false sense of security. We sat back, let her do what she wanted. So when she put her guard down, Steve could go in, get her when her guard's down, and expose her.
And
Let her
that's
tell on herself.
exactly what happened. I got stuck protecting the show from trolls, which took my focus off it. And I thank God Steve was there because I would have been, just like Steve, I would have nailed her with the same thing Steve did. But thank God he was there because what happened is she's just like what Harry said. She came in there, didn't have her guard up, thought she was going to outsmart everybody. And in the end, she told on herself and she also exposed Monday as well because all she got to do is think about where they met. And then if Hell by the Dashboard's Light history on Armor Hammond plays out, and he's actually connected to that, that's even more stronger evidence of who this guy is.
Whew. Yeah. I'm going to sit back on that one, though. I haven't researched that one personally yet, but the
Yeah.
Mensa connection, that's definitely there. Like, we've been looking up Mensa
And,
recruitment, and
yes,
they tell
and
you,
Mensa's right out of Britain. It was started in Britain. It's specifically a Britain club. But one of
hmm
these things that irks me about people like this? Because
what?
we've created all these damn categories. And we're people's hiking themselves over the top of other people like they're gods. And then somebody else is hiking themselves above that person. And you got all these people fighting to be God over other people. Okay, and they think, well, because we got an high IQ, we're in this top percent in the world. Oh my God, these guys, it's like that one guy said, he said, he's part of Mensa. So you know what he says? He says when he talks to somebody with average IQ, he has to lower himself to their level to even communicate with them. So he's lowering himself. Then he says, and if they're below average, he has to lower himself 2 times. Okay, now do you catch that attitude? I'm lowering myself because I'm God. Okay, to be able to talk to this serpent here, this nobody. Do you understand what's going on? And this is funny because we have a woman who's part of Mensa who I think she believes that same crap. And she comes up here thinking she's talking to a bunch of idiots. And so here's what she done. She told on herself and she told on Monday. Congratulations, man. I'm sure glad you're part of that top 2% of idiots. I personally think to be part of that top two, you have to be a psychopath or a sociopath. You have to be something in around that area.
Well, I mean, you could say it's ego, but I'm going to sit on the fence with that. I think high IQ has some sort of merit to it. But I guess it can, get to your ego and you can think you're infallible. But if you're going to come onto your live stream and you're going to let your guard down because you think you're greater than everyone else, we can all make mistakes no matter your IQ. So, yeah.
Yeah. See, this is just it. So, but for the people who want Saturday Night Live to continue, I'd like to see it continue. And of course, we need people to anticipate because we couldn't have Saturday Night Live show if people don't anticipate in the show. But we do need protection from idiots that want to pass out information and troll our show. So, you forced my hand. Now I have to tell people. So I'm going to tell you right now, law lowercase, handyman underscore 48 at live.com. Okay, I'll say that in a couple minutes again for you who don't have it. Grab a pencil and write it down. This is the email that you will use to send me a friend's request on Zoom. Once you put Zoom on your device, your smartphone, your iPod, your computer, whatever device you're using, Zoom is free to get. Go get it. Download it. Make your account. Then use the email that I just told you. handyman_48@live.com. That's the send me a friends request on that. I will add you. Then when you want to be part of the show on Saturday night, you can just log into your Zoom, send me in the chat, hi, or let me into the show, and I'll bring you in. This is how you'll get into the show from here on out. There will not be a call-in number for Zoom with an ID number no more because we can't trust people. SBO, I'm sure, is the reason we got trolled. The guy was never on our side. That's the reason I removed him. This guy was always for the establishment. He was always for the agenda.
Oh yeah, SPO made a great comment on the last Dashboard live stream. He said Dashboard's too smart for TFL Saturday Night Live. So this was a show SPO wanted to be on and got kicked out of it, and now he's saying it's full of idiots. You know, how stupid is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Alex is too smart to want to go on TFL Saturday Night Live, but I did. I really wanted to go on that show
Oh,
until I got kicked out.
exactly. If I hadn't been so damn distracted keeping trolls out, I mean, this could have turned into a disaster. So I'm glad Steve was there. I would have had to end the meeting and come back again and re-invite her back. That would have took a lot of people off the show. Okay, because I would have ended the meeting, changed the ID number, come back so that you couldn't come into the show. And then I would have brought people back in the context list right on the live show. That's the only way I could have, and then I would have went after Annika. But, Steve was there, so Steve sort of picked up where I couldn't because I was trying to keep the troll off the show and my focus was broke. Remember, I don't script nothing. Okay? I don't script a damn thing. But I have to have my attention and focus on what I'm doing. Okay? And my focus was broke because I was too worried about keeping troll out of the show, as you all know. Because every time they popped back in the meeting box, it was always in a different location. Then they started using people's names that were already in the meeting box. Okay, this is how they kept getting in. So it's just, then you don't want to remove the actual person that's in the meeting, but the troll. So now they're using their same name. So now you got to look and figure out which one's actually trolling and remove them. So yeah,
They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing. They definitely broke my focus.
Yeah, they were good at it, but no more.
Nope, there
Moving
won't be
past
no
that.
more. There will not be no more of that. Okay? Steve don't call a call-in number. Steve is in my contacts list. Steve always comes into this show the same way. Just like Harry here. Nope, he don't have to worry about no ID number or anything.
No, VIP right here.
Yes. Okay, so and this is how I want to bring everybody in from now on because this will eliminate the trolls. So I hope
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, so I hope some of you wrote that email down. And yes, I would love to see Held by the Dashboard Light join Steve and I in live streams on Saturday night. It'd be interesting to have him on and have him talk about the Armor Hammer thing again and how he links that to Monday. I think that would be interesting, and that should come from Held by the Dashboard Light himself. Okay? But I think people should hear it because I said from day one that Monday was a plan. He was an employee of the establishment, an agent, a shill, whatever name you want to call him. Okay? And he's here on assignment. YouTube is flooded full of people like this that are actually here on assignment. And they're being paid to do what they're doing.
Yeah, he's probably recruited through Mensa, right? You probably met some politicians through Mensa, but he joins and then they give him this assignment.
Yeah, so, and I think that's why Monday wouldn't come on the show and sat down and ended the meeting. I think Monday realizes he could not win a debate against me or Steve Hoka. He understands that me and Steve Hoka are quite real, and it don't matter that he's part of that 2% of the most smartest people in the world. I don't give a crap. That's all made man crap. You know, I know that Hell by the Dashboard is a very intelligent guy, and I'll guarantee Monday wouldn't want to come up against him neither.
No, I mean you can be as intelligent as you want, but if you're trying to argue that snow is black, I mean you can argue snow is black with some really stupid people, but not to you, Steve, or Dashboard. Like you couldn't tell you snow is black, no matter how smart he is.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably could tell a Wild Bill that snow is black, or SPO. They might believe that. I think SPO would believe snow is black quite easily.
Well, I can see that, yeah. Think about it. Anik on that other live stream with that other guy you sent me, I was finishing watching that, right? And she makes the statement that dating, she calls it courting, okay? She says people court a handful of times. One handful of times, okay? 4 or 5 times. After
Right.
4 or 5 times, you get to know, then you're good to go. Well, let's see. So if you went out once a week with this girl to do something, 4 or 5 times, huh? So within a month and a week. If you went out every other week, what, 2 months? So you're
Right.
really going to get to know somebody in this amount of a short time. Then you wonder why relationships are breaking up.
Yeah, no, Dashboard made a good point. You should spend 4 to 5 years minimum meeting somebody before having children. That's a good way to go about it because that's probably the
Yeah,
minimum amount of time it takes to know someone well.
exactly. And to this guy who says, don't let Annika run the show, okay, next time. Well, the next time, guy, I'll just end the meeting. How's that? And you won't be part of it. Or maybe next time we'll just let the troll play their music and you won't hear anybody talk. Wouldn't that be awesome? You would have loved to have the whole show trolled all the whole time, right? And not to be able to hear anybody talk. That would have been. Is that what you really want? Okay, that's to Dean. Now I don't think that's
Well,
what you really want. If you can't understand that I tried to keep the show alive and had to remove the troll, it's no different than Crimson or whatever you want to call him. He thought he was running the show too, and I would have just thrown him off. If I hadn't been trolled, I would have went off on him and he might have lost his ass. You people freaking ain't been around me for 12, 13 years don't understand. If my focus is there, I'll go to town on people like that. I'll rip them a new asses. I take them out. And Annika, I would have went to town on her just like Steve did. You like that when she told him F you and went off the show and then she comes back in because Ron Fan brings her back in. Okay, Ron Fan says, oh, she'll come back in. Okay, so I let her back in because I wanted to do just like Harry said. I wanted to let it play out and keep the troll out as long as Steve was there. Otherwise, I would have had to end the meeting and come back and bring her back in so I could have nailed her. But I'm glad it went down the way it went down because now it confirmed what I always knew that Monday's an employee of the establishment.
right. I mean, I'm going to repeat myself. I said this earlier on, but they don't realize that this wasn't just some random feminist woman. This was a woman who was a wife of a guy that we exposed 7 months ago. Has got a very big influence on YouTube and the political and the dating scene. And of course, you want to try and get somebody like that comfortable whenever they come on your show. You want to let them speak and talk for a while to just lower their guard a bit so that, they'll think they're owning you, they get their ego kick. And then once that happens, let the guard down. Then you go into the tough questions. And then they say, oh, we met at Mensa. Oh, Mensa, right. A
Yeah,
high IQ organization that, is paid for. You got to pay for the IQ tests, probably millions of, if not billions, probably goes into maintaining that organization. What's that club about? Nobody's putting that money into it for a joke.
no. This club is in 100 countries and it started in Britain. This club is for the smartest people on the planet with their IQ test. This is where your leader getting their think tanks from. And this is
It's
where
not
they're
just
recruiting from. That's really what it is. Go ahead.
it's not just like a silly social club, like TFL. You know what I'm saying? If it was going to be a high IQ club, you could just start one on YouTube, and you wouldn't have to pay for it at all. It'd be like this.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, they are connected. They are connected to politicians. They have world meetings. I mean, they're meeting with politicians, right?
No,
How in bed of
they
the
were probably,
establishment
yes, exactly. They
would you
were,
have to be?
you got to figure since Mensa was started the same year the United Nations was started, right behind World War II. This was the globalists looking for more think tanks, and that's what funded and started Mensa over in Britain to begin with. And you got to figure that, yes, she did a really good job of actually exposing herself and Monday to who they really are. And I'm sure she felt that she was so above us that she could come in and lie and manipulate like she did, okay? And then have a little emotional freak out when Steve nailed her, right? I think she figured that she could fucking pull the wool over her eyes, but you know what she did do? She did the same thing that Monday's doing. It's still the guy's fault, guys. It's all your fault. If you're married to her for a bunch of years and have kids and she divorces you out of nowhere and takes your home and takes all of your furniture and takes all of your belongings, so takes your children and takes your money through the courts, okay? But don't worry, guys. It's still your fault.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm just reading through the comments here. I think Global Man says, I knew my wife for 13 years before deciding to have children. Bad advice. I mean, yeah, I guess you could know somebody for 13 years, huh? And they could end up divorcing you and treating you badly.
You got it. You know, you think the global man's wife, he was knowing her all this time, like I knew my son's mother a long time before we ever got together. You would think that would mean something, but it doesn't because what we have is a lot of social engineering. What we have is greed, selfishness, and ego and power trips. So they don't care. You know, it's sort of like Peter, sort of like Global Man there. What happened to him was, well, his wife was done using him now. She found somebody else that could replace him. Yep, he was the
Mhm.
hamburger wrapper.
You're right. Yeah, I've had friends I've known for like 13 plus 17 years to just fucking, flake and, basically throw you out. Like if you're married to these guys, you'll be fucked. So,
That's it.
I mean,
That's
time doesn't tell
exactly
all.
it. Time doesn't tell all, and
Well,
time tells all,
yeah.
not doesn't. I said that backwards, excuse me. Time tells all. I used to tell people this actions, don't listen to somebody's words, watch their actions. You hear their words, but don't believe in the words. Hear the words, look it up and go look for yourself, or hear the words and watch the actions. So if you're dealing with a woman, you hear the words, but you watch her actions. Because her actions will tell the real truth. So if she's lying to you, her actions will tell on herself. She will tell on herself because her actions won't match her words.
Right. I think the percentage of single mothers out there, children raised in single parent households is around 33%. So if you do have children, you've got a 33% chance of being kicked out of their life. But I'd still say 67%. I mean, it can work out for them.
Yeah, and there you go. Global Man's right. His own father condoned the kidnapping of his children. Well, of course, his own father did. Because he still has to stand up for the woman because the woman can do no wrong. So she gets to do all the wrong she wants and be excused from it.
Right. Right. I mean, the problem is that they're given power over the man. So if they have psychopathic tendencies, they will use them to exploit you.
Yes, and they will. And that's exactly what's taking place to so many men. When these women are crying, I like that because Annika said that us men are the gatekeepers of YouTube. And she's telling other women to not listen to us. We are the gatekeepers of YouTube, guys. Right out of Annika's mouth.
Hmm.
I got the video where she says it to that guy that she's interviewing with, and that was thanks to Harry. I downloaded that, by the way, Harry. Huh.
I'm glad to be useful.
Hey, Harry's a good man. I like Harry. He's a good man. He's intelligent. He may be young, but he's smart as a whip. I'll tell you that right now. He's above his level for his guys. The guys his age, I ain't got nothing on him.
Oh, thanks, Bill.
It's one of them things, but I wanted to get up here today with Harry, and I wanted to do this so that you have a little bit of an idea of what's going on. And I wanted to make it clear that Ron Fan definitely wasn't responsible for the troll. Okay? That troll most likely came from SPL. And I'm sure he's going to sit back and laugh his ass off because he thought he was funny. But it just shows how sick he actually really is. It shows how deceived and brainwashed he really is. That's all it does. We have we're in a world where male bashing and hurting some other people and hurting people, human suffering is comedy. It's entertainment. Harry and I were talking about this yesterday. Okay,
Hmm.
maybe even today we talked a little bit about it. The human suffering in society is considered entertainment. We sit here and create levels for ourselves when we place ourselves in a position over the top of another human being based on a monetary thing called money, based on ownership of more monetary than somebody else, based on, oh, my IQ's smarter than theirs.
Hmm.
But yet, wasn't it the one that's part of Mensa that come on here and wound up letting her guard down and told on herself? Does that
Sure
sound like
was.
does that sound like somebody that really has a top 2% smartest people in the world? Then how did that happen to her?
You're right. I mean, basically, it just goes to show how fucking dumb everyone is, really. I
Yeah, it
guess.
just comes to show it don't matter how smart because I can understand the dumb, but intelligent people are intelligent people, period. There is no category putting you above other people. And that
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
stuff, it feeds into the division and the infighting is what it does. And it keeps us all fighting.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm just reading some of the comments, about the whole MGTOW thing. I mean, I can understand, why you want to live your life alone, but definitely, like, I do think, whenever you do get a woman interested in you, like it really motivates you to get a lot more work done. You feel really good. I'm not going to lie about that. It's a good feeling. So I don't know about giving it up.
Yeah. Well, Trump's a puppet. Trump's following his orders from his owners. He don't run this country. He never has. This country's been run by Britain, and right now you have that little country we're not allowed to talk about. That's right, pulling the strings, and Trump has to follow his orders. He's nothing more than a puppet, a show figure for the public to fool them into believing they have freedom, to fool them into believing they have choice. Because as long as you feel you're free and think you're free and think you have choice, you don't resist or fight back. But the problem is, it's like the American dream. It's a dream. You haven't woke up yet if you believe that crap.
Hmm.
And I hate to say that. It's like the right and the left, Republican, Democrat, right, left, whatever you want to call it. Call it whatever you want. There is no right and left. That's right. There ain't no Republican, Democrat. They answer from the same people. Both sides are controlled by the same people. So you have a stage show going on, an act, a Hollywood act, a show. That's all it is.
Yeah, I'm just typing a response here to Global Man. He's saying, Just saying, you're right. It's got a high enough chance to feel bad in the long run. Very few people worth trusting these days. Like he said, can be a good feeling to get in a relationship at the start for the first few years, but it's a lot less of a good feeling after 20 years.
Yes. Well, but I understand Global Man. He worked his fucking tail off to support his wife and his kids, to pay for that house, to pay for them cars, to pay for the clothes on the kids' back, to put the food in their families' mouths. He worked his tail off to bring in that income, just to be told he didn't spend enough time with his wife. But then if he stopped working to spend more time with his wife, then that's the double-edged sword. Where's the money? Then she'd start, see? Either way, one, he would have gotten cut.
Yeah, I mean, it's undeniable. If you do get married, basically your wife becomes your owner. You are her slave. So you've really got to pick you got to pick somebody who's nice. I mean, there are some nice women who won't do that to you, but they'll have the power to do that to you whenever they want if you piss them off. So there's a big deterrent there.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
Steve's right. Let's see, Man 21, okay, conference won't talk about TFL. No, you're not going to get anybody to talk about TFL. Mainstream media or nobody. If they do, they'll be putting you in with incel and demonizing us. And you know why they do that? Because we're telling the truth. And then, it's right back to they don't want the accountability. They don't want to take responsibility for what they've done. They want their patsy. TFLers and incels are nothing more than a new Timothy McVeigh or a new Elliot Rogers. Actors. But we're going to be the fall guys. We're the ones that they're going to point at. And they're going to say, we all have mental issues. That's what they're going to say. So you're going to say millions of men all over the world are at fault. Every single time it's the man's fault. You watch the woman do all the behaviors and the crimes and the drama that causes the problem, and then you ignore what she did and say, oh, it's the man's fault.
mhm. Yeah, just like Annika's saying, oh, it's the man's fault. She's saying men are too picky. We're the gatekeepers of the political scene on YouTube. We can't be the gatekeeper of anything, but she can be the gatekeeper of sex because she's a woman. She's above us.
Oh, yeah,
That
she
woman
has
is a
the
complete
egg.
psychopath.
She uses the egg. That's her weapon. Because I have the egg, I'm above you. Well, guess what? Your egg's useless without the guy unless you go into scientific stuff to create a baby. But then it's not being born naturally. So your men's really become useless. Steve talked about this. And then I think Nick talked about this, but men are actually useless in today's society. They have no use for
Well,
no men no more. We're disposable.
you can say that, but we have a lot of power to us. If they're going to try to say we're useless, we don't, they don't need us. We can just go and fight back and pick up weapons and fucking, you know what I'm saying?
I
Show
hate
them how
that.
useless we
I
are.
hate to have it be that way, Harry, but no. Women are decent women, as you understand from none. Okay.
Yeah, my own mother was a decent woman, but apart from her, I haven't met many. Maybe not any.
Well, yeah, if you're going to get married and have a three-party contract with the United States, make sure you're broke and have nothing the entire time. Don't give her anything to steal from you.
Mm.
If you hate men so bad, I even got another idea for them. Then why don't you just, you made a movie about a world without men, right? You see how far the
Yeah.
woman's brain has gone? I mean, Annika really is doing injustice. She's not helping nobody but the elite.
Yeah, no, I think what Peter's saying is a good point. There are like no decent women left in society, and particularly my age. There's very few. Like it's like finding a fucking needle in a haystack. Maybe one or two, 3 in 100. You got
Uh,
no chances.
Unfortunately, that would be a very true statement, you know. And I hate the thought of having to say that's true, but it is true.
Well, yeah, think about it. We've had like 20 years of intense brainwashing with the internet. Intense brainwashing, so intense.
Yes, we have. So Saturday night show will be coming up here on Saturday again. Make sure you use my email address, handyman_48 at live.com. Make sure you get Zoom, and that's to my callers that's been calling in and anybody else. If I get the Zoom friends request, you can be part of the show on Saturday night. And to hell by the dashboard light, I would like to see you be part of this show. If I could put Steve Hoke and myself and Hell by the Dashboard Light on one show, you damn right I'll do it. Okay? I think it's needed, and and maybe it'll encourage other men to stop throwing each other underneath the bus. Maybe we can get our heads out of our what and stop slamming one another and start trying to work together because that's really what needs to happen. Yes, Peter's right. The propaganda's been going on for 50 years. Easy.
Yeah, 50 years at least, but it got really intense in the last 10 or 20.
Yes, it sure has. So unless you're above that age, sorry, your whole life you've been filled full of BS. And the lies about history's been going on for hundreds of years. It's gotten to the point where you don't even know what to believe anymore. You have to be awake to understand and see what's going on. And I clearly see what's going on. Believe me, I do. I really clearly see exactly what's going on. And I only want to bring it to a stop for everybody. Okay, I want to see men stop being. We should never have a world where women love women and men love women and women hate men and men hate men. The men are the targeted. We are disposable. We're not useless for anything. They're literally serious when they're thinking about we could just kill all men off. They're not joking. This is one of the reasons, if we could just stop the division amongst ourselves and stop falling into that programming, then we could actually make an impact on fighting back.
Right. No, I think like the portability, I guess, of the smartphones and on the internet, like you can carry that around with you everywhere you go. It's like you've got a constant internet connection to all this propaganda and shit.
Yes.
And if
Well,
you're on a train or whatever,
yeah. And I've seen
it
that
really helped a
comment
lot.
on Trump, Harry. And you know what I got to say about the comment on Trump on how most women hate Trump? That's true,
Hmm.
right? That was
Yeah.
a stage show to divide the genders even further. And it worked. They're all fucking
Yeah.
hating a puppet so that they could put a new puppet who's working for the same people Trump is. So that they can't figure out the same shit's gonna keep going on.
Yeah. Fucking Trump, man and woman, Trump and Hillary. That was no accident.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who you vote for, man. You're voting for the elite. You're falling into the illusion, the mirage. That's all that is.
Well, yeah, Trump and Hillary are fucking cousins. They got some common ancestor back in 1600s England.
Exactly. And no different than Monday or Annika. They're employees of the establishment. They're working together. They're the same coin. And Annika's advice on the dating scene, well, there you go. A handful of times is all you need, guys. And you can hook right up and get your life screwed over. That's what she's really promoting. But yet for herself, well, it's all right if I took all them years before I got to be with him.
Mm-hmm.
But what you got there is probably two rich people, two people that both have a lot of money, great incomes, okay, high IQ society. Well, have you ever watched anybody in high IQ society? When they go to town on each other in the courts, when they're through using each other, there you go. One day that'll be Monday's outcome, won't it? Annika will find somebody better than Monday. And Monday will become the new hamburger wrapper that got thrown away, even though he's busy destroying men.
Well, I feel sorry for Monday because Annika was one cold-hearted woman. She was so fucking psychopathic and was like the perfect feminist. So I feel sorry for that guy.
Oh well, I'm sure you know what he's doing. He's running around the house simping. But I think Monday was upset with her on last Saturday night. I do believe he was upset with her because it was me and Steve Oka. He wasn't about to climb on a show with me and Steve Oka. I got a challenge for Monday. But if you wouldn't do it with me and Steve Oka, maybe it's because we're missing a person. How about me, Steve Oka, and Held by the Dashboard Light Monday? No Annika. How
That'd be
about
funny.
the four of us on one show?
That'd be a good laugh. Yeah, no, I mean, growing up today is particularly hard. I was reading some psychological study of basically on care and empathy, and they found that in 1979, the bottom 25% of the population had an equal or equivalent empathy to half the population today. Right? So that means that the
yes.
average person today is as bad as the bottom 25% in 1979. So that goes to show how this brainwashing has really occurred in stages and how it's gotten progressively worse with the lack of care
Yes.
over the years.
This is why I told people we have to have care back. You got to have empathy. You got to care for other people as much as yourself. With what's going on
Exactly.
in the world, you have to pay attention and you have to have care. You can't throw other people underneath the bus because of your anger. If they're a victim too, you got to understand it. But they're anticipating on the bad behavior that keeps us divided, then you all have to stand against them. Because it's the only way you can stop it. Because the only way we're ever going to be strong enough to stand up to what's going on is to come together. If you can't do that, then enjoy your miserable lives of TFL and your enslavement. Because that's where you're headed. And I don't want that for any of us. I just want us to be able to do the right thing and correct it. So I think Carrie will get up on out of here. We're a little over an hour into it.
Right.
And then we will be back here on Saturday night. So remember, take my email address. If you're not sure of it, put it in a comment underneath one of my videos. That's for my email. And I'll give it to you. Get Zoom on your device. It is free and it's not that hard to find. Send me a friend's request so that you can come into the show on Saturday night. And that's to all of you. And with that being said, I'll be up here again on Saturday night without the trolls. And you all have a good one.
Later, guys.